I'll be doing my Candace review, and it's for a C0 Candace. Now, so those of you who did watch me poll for her, I do have her at C1 or 2, I believe. So, but regardless, for C0 is the purpose of this video because most of you may or may not even have her, or if you did have one copy of her, I think you're fine. I don't think, she benefits best from her first constellation, but we'll get into that. All right, so let's just get into it. I feel overall, just as an overarching conclusion here, she is actually just a very average, middle of the road 4-star character, like most of the 4 stars that have been released, basically. So I didn't expect much from her, and there isn't much to expect from her. But she's interesting. She has a lovely aesthetic and look. She actually could look like she could be a 4-star character even. She has way more details than some of the other 4 stars that exist in the game already. So I actually like that about her. But I will say that she is not anything more special than any other character that you have. Definitely, she's not a must-have character in your 4-star roster for sure. I will just make that very clear here. I'm pretty sure most of the other streamers out there also felt the same. I know that they did their streams about her earlier, but I will say collecting her cactus flowers takes a long time. Yeah, like collecting her box materials and everything else in the desert is not hard at all. It's just collecting her flowers in the beginning. It was especially when you're unlocking the desert when I first started playing this patch. So then, but of course now it's easy. But then regardless, yeah, I left her at 70 out of 80 just to get the final, the third acquaint fate, and that's all I left her at. Most of my 4 stars that I don't plan to use in the future are left at 70 out of 80, as you can see. The ones that I kind of was curious about, I would bring them up to 80 out of 80 or 80 out of 90, or maybe I might use them here and there. But I think for her, I don't really plan to use her much after this patch. But I'll keep her around for the companionship experience to gain up to level 10 to get her name cards. All right, weapons. If you guys know from when I first got her and started exploring around with her and etc., I gave her the prototype Star Glitter. I knew from the beginning that she would be a support character and the energy recharge would go well for her. Although the passive increases her normal and charge attack, I don't use her in those ways, but it's okay to have that extra little bump there because at least you could use her that way, right? Other options for her, and I talked about this in my Candace weapon options video, I would not recommend giving her any 5-star options unless you had them lying around and no one else needed them. Like, I doubt that you're going to give her, like, your Homa, right, for example. But, like, if you have extra Skyward Spines, maybe, that could work. If you wanted to, you could give her the catch. We already talked about that, so we're not going to go through all the weapons here. I gave her this because no one else was using it, and she could do well with it. It looks aesthetically pretty okay with her because the gold color matches her. Again, Favonius would be fine with her. Sacrificial. Oh, there's no sacrificial pull. I'm sorry. Yeah, so Favonius would do fine with her. If you wanted to give her that aspect of a physical damage, because she can, based on her burst, she can infuse with Hydro anyway. So, I mean, it could be physical when you're not infused, and non-physical or Hydro when you are infused. So there's that option. Yeah, and then I guess a more niche build could be like a Dragon's Bane, and this is not a horrible weapon to give her actually because it does work for the Hydro passive and Elemental Mastery if you want to use her to create reactions. Now, having said that though, on the reaction side, she doesn't do much because she doesn't apply that much Hydro that consistently. Hence, I don't really use her in that way. Hence, I feel that she's middle of the road or very average here. Artifacts. So for her, I feel like Nilu is about to be released, and I feel like they're going to be built similarly. So yeah, for this character, Candace, you can give her a 2-piece Tenacity of Millilith because she does scale off of HP, so that will give her that little bump there. And if you have leftover Tenacity pieces, go for it. I gave her leftover pieces that no one else was using. I wouldn't bother leveling or finding any pieces out there specifically for her. You could definitely do for the other 2-piece set. You can give her the 2-piece Wanderer set for the Elemental Mastery, or any of those other ones like the Echo set or the Vermilion set. Those ones are also Elemental Mastery, I believe, right? Let me just double check. And oops, hang on. Oh, sorry, those are attack. I'm sorry, I misquoted. I meant Deepwood Memories. There we go. No. Sorry. Gilded Dreams. There we go. I don't know why I was thinking about the other one. Sorry, I apologize. So yes, Gilded Dreams, a 2-piece set would work fine for her. Yeah, and then it would give her the Elemental Mastery. You can do that, or I gave her Gladiators because those were just leftover pieces that I had. I played with different things. I gave her, as you can see, HP main stat for all 3, and I didn't bother with her Hydro here because again she doesn't really apply that much Hydro, so I didn't bother giving her Hydro Cup. I didn't bother with her crit stats because she's not going to be critting for me. She's just a support character. I don't plan to use her much. So I just gave her what no one else was using. That worked out, okay? Although some of them will have substats that are crit, but then the main stat and it's on a piece that other characters aren't currently using, so I just gave it to her. I'll swap them to other characters as needed. So I do have her at C2. So C1 is arguably her best constellation. Other streamers have mentioned it as well, because this increases the duration of her um, of her um, of her right, her sacred right, the wagtail, and then the Huron sanctum. So this one is for the wagtail, which is her alt, basically her burst. So that's important. And then the second one is her max HP will be increased once her skill hits. Then her max HP increases temporarily. So again, remember her damage is scaling off of her HP, which will go into the talents right after this. This will be plus 3 levels for her alt. This one, C4, will basically kind of reduce her cooldown down to the tapping form versus the holding form, because there's two different cooldowns, which we'll go over. C5 will give her skill of plus 3 levels, and C6 arguably is okay, but I don't know that anyone's going to go that hard and heavy unless you're wailing on her to get, or on the banner for C0 to get her to C6, right? So I would say, I didn't get her to C6, but I did do C0's banner twice because I was using my guarantee on him. So I would say, this is not a bad one. Basically, I'll read it out here. So when characters, excluding herself, affected by the prayer of the Crimson Crown caused by her wagtail, so caused by her burst, deals elemental damage to opponents using normal attacks, then an attack wave will be unleashed that deals AoE Hydra damage equal to 15% of her max HP, right? So basically, in her infused state for her burst, other characters, when you swap them and when they use her infusion, especially if they're sword, claymore, and polearm characters, they can get infusion with the hydro. And with that, then this will just give a little extra AoE hydro damage. So this is not bad, but her attack stats and her multipliers are really low. So her normal attack, you don't even need to level this. I just brought it up to 6 just to make it all even, but you don't need to level this at all. So then we'll just skip that. And then her skill basically just thrusts her shield at the enemy, and you can tap it or hold it, okay? And I'm not going to read the passive or the description there, but basically, yeah, if you hold it, you get a little bit more out of it, and there's some interruption aspect to it, etc. So yeah, and then it scales off of her max HP, and then her alt, as we talked about, also scaling off of max HP. And this is the one where when you swap characters, it splashes them with water basically, up to 4 times, and it infuses them if they have pole arms, sword, or claymore weapons. And then this passive talent here, basically, yes, if she gets hit by an attack while she's trying to hold, then her skill will finish charging immediately. And then this one, if you're doing her burst, it'll increase her damage for every 1,000 points of her max HP. So again, you want to focus on getting her max HP as high as possible. And then this one is just about climbing stamina, so it's not a big deal. All right, so let's just quickly get into this battle. I brought along Kokomi because then having Hydro Resonance gives you extra HP as well. And Kokomi will be here to break the shield of the Pyro Regismine. And I'm just going to shield my characters with Zhongli. And just as it's clear, so we're going to try to do it this way, and we'll just see what we can do. Yeah, so Kokomi basically broke it for that. So then there's that, and then she has this holding animation, right? And then she just thrusts it down, or as you can see, the damage multipliers are not high. So then there's that thing, when we switch characters, it will burst some water. It's not, I lost the last one because I took too long because I was explaining the charge. But yeah, let's see if we can proc it again. We just need to get some energy back, basically. And then in terms of like doing like reactions, which is what I'm going to try to do here. So, she gets okay solid getting some energy back. Mind you, I do have the star glitter on her, right? So I'm just going to proc it again, right? And then you can see she can splash, including herself, up to 4 times. And that's okay too, right? And then, yeah, so I would say that she's not that great of a character. You can see her multipliers are quite low if we go back to the talent screen, just to show. It's not that high, even though you have the max HP and all that stuff. And even though I got her max HP over 34,000, it can be higher if you level up to 90, but I don't want to waste the resources here because I don't think that it's going to get any better. Other bigger streamers have already leveled her up to the max and did all that stuff, and they optimized her, and they still felt that she's pretty middle of the road average. So I agree with them. So that's my review of Candace. But she's a lovely character. She looks really good. Her aesthetic could be a 5-star aesthetic, right? But yeah, you don't need to. The good thing about her is she's kind of FTP friendly and she's easy to build. But the only bad thing about it is she doesn't do much damage, and there's really no need if you have other like characters in your roster already. Like she doesn't fill any kind of void in anyone's roster. I don't believe, unless you're a brand new player to the game and you don't have very many characters, then maybe. Yeah. So those are my thoughts on Candace. Let me know what you guys think about her in the comments below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much.